Hello to all. Today we are exploring one of the 24 Italian art songs, Caro mio ben. I am going to first do a poetic reading of the song, of the text. I have provided a word-for-word English translation for you. And then you also might notice that I have provided what we call IPA symbols for each one of these words, the International Phonetic Alphabet. Now, you might not know what each one of these symbols mean, but I think it's a good idea for you to guide you and to help you to understand what sound we are looking for each one of these words. On the next slide, I have also provided common English words that is associated with each one of these, maybe what might be tricky sounds. So I'm first just going to do a poetic reading, and then we will explore each one of these words so that you can have a good grasp of how to pronounce each one of these Italian words. Caro mio ben, caro mio ben, credimi almen, senza di te languisce il cor, il tuo fedel sospira ognor, cessa crudel tanto rigor. My dear love, believe me at last, without you my heart languishes. Your faithful one sighs always. Stop, cruel one, all the torment. Okay, so let's start to have a look at each one of these words, and I also will bring up some pitfalls that I have learned that young singers make, so just be careful and mindful of that. So the very first word, caro, caro. So we'll see that the accent, that's what that little line means, is on the first syllable. It's not caro, but caro. We can hear that the ah sound is very bright. The Italians like to talk about sunny vowels, a vowel that is got a lot of warmth, red, yellow, and this ah sound is really bright. It's something in between, almost like an ah sound, cat, and if I say the word father. So it's what we call a central vowel, so it's really in the center, and it's really nice and bright. Caro, caro. And the accent, of course, is on that ah sound. Then we've got an R, and it is flipped, okay? Caro. So I'm not going caro, caro. Just a quick little flip. If you have a tough time flipping your R's or rolling your R's, the best advice that I can give is to change it almost to a D sound just for exercise. Cado, cado. Because the tongue has the same action. So just do cado, 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 cado. And you'll see that the tongue will then just fall into place. The O, because it is in an unaccented position, is closed. And you will see on the next slide, which I'm just going to switch to, you'll see that those are English words that I provided: obey, provide, grow. The only thing that I will tell you to be mindful of is not to go caro. Can you hear that? I'm putting a diphthong like we have in oh. The jaw changes shape, right? So we just want that first clean vowel. Oh, and I don't allow any of the change in my jaw. Caro. The next word, meal, meal. Again, the O is closed because the MI, the accent is really on that long I sound. The colon that you see that I included makes that the vowel is really nice and long. So we almost treat this one syllable word as a two-syllable word, meal. If you, now be careful, if you have this one syllable word on a, let's say, a quarter note, you almost have to think of break the quarter into 2/8 notes. And with the first eighth note, even a little bit longer than the second eighth note. Meal, meal. And again, that O is closed. The next word, ben, ben. Of course, this is, the word actually is bene, bene, but they've just sort of, for poetic reasons, just left out the final E sound. So an open word, an open that we have, ben, ben. And again, I'm just going to switch to the next slide. Here we can see open is like the word bed, said. So those are all good words that you can associate with. Ben. The next word, credimi, credimi. We can hear that the accent is on the first closed air sound, credimi. Here you can hear that I'm really rolling my R, credimi. Again, you can change it with a D and then trying to speed it up. Credimi, credimi. The next word, before we talk about the J that you'll see there in the IPA, the word is almen, almen. Actually, the word is almeno, almeno, so it's truncated, it's shortened, but it has to rhyme with ben. So that's why the poets just left off the final O. Almen, almen. We can hear that the accent, that's why we have the syllable that follows the little marking there, that is an indication of where the accent is. Almen. Now here, because the words are sort of elided, are connected, we put in a little, the I of credimi becomes almost like a J sound. Credimi almen, credimi almen. So we have credi, that's my accent, and men, credimi almen. Practice that so it becomes really nice and smooth. So that whole line is Caro, mio ben, credimi almen. The next line, the first word that we have is senza, senza. The accent is on the first syllable, sen, sen. And again, we've got a nice open sound, like the word bed or head, senza. The Z is basically a TS sound, s, s, senza, senza. And again, be careful there not to diphthonize senza, senza. No, keep the jaw in one position, senza, senza. DI is nice and easy, as is TE, D, te. Nice close. Be careful there not to go te, te. Can you hear I'm adding a little I sound? So be careful for that. D, te, D, te. Keep the jaw in one position. Don't let the jaw change to te, te. Can you hear? And you see that the jaw changes position. Okay, now here might be the next word might be some symbols that you are not aware of or not that you don't know, but just hang in there and we will discuss that. The word is languisce, languisce. Good, so let's first just talk about the, so of course the accent is on the gui sound, gui, okay, languisce. Let's talk about this N that has got like a little tail onto it, right? So that is like the word sing, sing. just the normal English word sing. That NG makes one sound, right? We don't go sing. We don't separate the N and the G. It becomes one sound. And that's exactly what we do here in Italian as well. Lung, and it's exactly the tongue that touches the hard palate. Languisce. Then here, the G is just a nice hard G sound. Languisce. Then we've got basically what we call a glide, and that's that w sound that you hear. Langui, langui. And then this one that looks almost like a little walking stick, sh, is like in the word sheep, right? Languisce, languisce. Because it's quite effortful for the mouth to produce that sound, the Italians would treat that actually as a double consonant, right? So that's why you see two of those little walking sticks. Languisce, languisce. Once again, the final E is closed. Careful there not to put the diphthonize that and go languisce. Don't put an E in there, okay? The next word is il, nice and easy, il. And then the word, actually, the next word is cor. Once again, it's truncated, it's shortened, it's actually core. There's actually be an E at the end, but for our poetic purposes, the composer just left that off. Cor. Now here is an open O sound, and I'm going to take you to the next slide again. And you just see the open O is like the word I ought to do something. Ought to do something. Can you see that the mouth is a little bit more round? Ought to do something. We've got we initiate with the cheek muscles. Ought to do something. Okay, almost like the lips are a little bit more off the teeth. Cor. And here also I am going to really roll my R. Il cor. So because we want to have a nice legato line, we are going to elongate that final E. Can you see the colon again? Languisce il cor. Languisce il cor. So I'm not putting what we call a glottal. Languisce il cor. No, just continue the sound. Languisce il cor. Languisce il cor. The next line, il, nice and simple again, il. Here we have again the same one syllable word like we had in mio, but it's treated almost as two syllable words. Tuo. A word just here on the T, don't go tuo. Can you hear that the T almost is very aspirate, is very wet in a sense. We don't want that, okay? Think of almost, once again, think of it as a D. Duo. Can you feel that the tongue tip is right on the sort of the top end behind the top teeth? Duo. And we want that T, duo, to have that same position, okay? So you don't want tuo, okay? Tuo. The U is long, and if it is let's say a quarter note, you almost have to subdivide the quarter note into 2 eighth notes, with the first eighth note even taking it a little bit longer. Tuo, il tuo. The next word is fedel. Once again, it's truncated. It's actually fedele, but we just have the poet stopping it on the L. Fedel. Both of these are close E sounds. Fedel. Make sure that you don't put a fedel. Don't put a diphthong on there, and keep both of those vowels nice and close. Fedel. The next word is sospira, sospira, sospira. Ooh, and I actually see a little mistake that I've made. I will correct that right at the end. The letter after the P should not be an O, it should be an I. So I will actually quickly, I wonder if I can quickly correct that. Let's see. Sospira. I think that did it. My apologies. Sospira. Here again, the accent falls after the P. Sospira, sospira. Because the R is between two vowels, we are only flipping the R. Sospira. Once again, keep that R nice and bright. Keep the I nice and long. Sospira. Okay, so that we can really give the correct syllable, the correct emphasis. Sospira. Once again, if you have trouble with roll or flipping your R, rather, just put a D, sospira, sospira, and just get da, sospira, and you'll get that. Okay, this next word is probably the hardest one, although it's not quite as hard as you might think. The word is onyor, onyor, onyor. Now here right at the bottom of the slide, you'll see that the ny sound is almost like the word onion, onion. Although in English, it's almost like two sounds, the N and then the ny sound. In Italian, it's just all combined into one, onyor. So it's almost, I always tell my students, it's almost like getting peanut butter off the roof of your mouth, okay? Onyor, onyor. We can see that both of the O's are nice and closed. The accent happens on the second R, on the second syllable, onyor. And once again, because it's quite effortful, we make, the Italians make the distinction here by doubling the consonant. Onyor, onyor. In general, Italians do not like glottals. That's why you see that there is a colon after the A of sospira. Sospira onyor. So we're not going to say sospira onyor. Can you hear that I put a little glottal after that before the O? So just keep the A sound steady and long. Sospira onyor. It basically goes into the next word, and you will avoid the glottal and you'll sing a beautiful legato line. Our last line, here is the first word, cessa, cessa. We can see that the accent is on the first syllable, cessa, cessa. We see that it is a really nice, bright, open S sound, like head or bed, cessa. Now that's a T, and then we've got our little walking seat again, right? Ch. So that's almost like the word chips, chips, ch, ch, cessa, cessa. Nice bright up there at the end. Now here it's very important, like almost the word credimi, right at the beginning of the text, to really see if you can roll that R, because crudel sounds almost like the English word cruel one. So you really want to emphasize that R. Crudel, crudel. It's actually crudele, but it has to rhyme with fedele, fedel, and there is just in one L. I mean, it's not the vowel is left off, so that has to then rhyme with that crudel. We can see that the second syllable takes the stress. Crudel, crudel. It's a nice rolled R, oo sound, and then an open e, like in bed. Crudel. You cannot roll that R enough. The same as credimi, credimi. The last two words, we're almost done. The first word is tanto, tanto. Nice bright R. The first syllable takes the word. Tanto, tanto. Really voice that N so that it has a pitch. Tanto. That will help with your legato line. The O is close. So don't go tanto. Don't put a diphthong. Tanto. And be careful for that T. So it doesn't become tanto, tanto. No, keep it almost like a D. Dando, dando. That's just practicing by changing the T's to D's. But then do this, feel where your tongue is and do exactly there for the same for the T. Tanto, tanto. And then the last one, rigor, rigor. Rolling both of my R's, rigor. We can see that the accent lies on the second syllable, rigor, rigor. Once again, it's actually truncated. It had to rhyme with oñor, oñor, rigor. So that's why it's just ending on the R, rigor. Okay, that is then caro mio ben. And just as a reminder, look back here at the English words equivalents, just for those little syllables. The ny is like onion. It's just one action. And the horseshoe, not the horseshoe, I'm sorry, the one that looks like a little walking stick is sh, like in the word sheep. And then if there's a T before that, it's like the word chips, chips. I hope this helped you in your preparation in learning caro mio ben. Thank you.